I let my dogs interpret. So for instance, if I'm teaching a spin, which we're going to be doing in a few minutes, spin, once he knows this spin, then and of course I'm using treats and lure at first and clicker and everything, but once my dog has an idea of that behavior, I let go of it, and it's now his movement, his behavior. It's up to him how he interprets it. So when you see Rookie do that spin where he throws his feet or legs in the air and kind of almost a somersault, he's almost doing a somersault. I didn't teach that. What I did is I taught just this little spin, like most of us have done, and then I said, "You go, bud, spin," and then I'd jackpot or do whatever. And of course, and he just said, due to his structure, his energy, and his personality, he went Yahoo. Those of us that are from Texas go Yahoo a lot, and he threw stuff up in the air. And then, of course, I did jackpots like crazy. So you want to start to let your dog interpret some of these behaviors, and it gives them a feeling of being connected even more to you, and also a feeling of power in the performance. I'm going to start to think about what moves you can use when, at what speed. Okay? So what behaviors, if your dog was with you, could you do when you're moving slow? Remember, I told you this is a lot like obedience, because we're going to have speed changes. We have speed changes in obedience. We have slow, normal, fast. Believe it or not, all music has those 3 speeds. But what I want you to mainly focus on right now is slow and normal. So if I slow down, what behaviors could I be doing? That's right. A move and weave. I could be doing a move and... You almost had to spit that out there. A move and weave. Okay. And if I'm moving out, also even going slow, I could be backing my dog. Okay. All right. And normal, dog could be coming. Okay. Or if I'm moving normal, my dog could be spinning, or we both could be spinning. Okay, so I want you to start to think about speed changes, because by the end of the day, I'm going to have you choreograph something. Okay? And we're going to use, everybody's like, uh-oh. Speed changes. Well, let's grab our dog out for just a minute before we do break, because I want to show you a couple of behaviors really quick before we all take a break. Okay. Really what happened, her dog just didn't jump. It was not my dog. It was my dog. But anyway, she was right behind me when we made that little turn coming back. And she was saying, "Dadgum, Caroline." Did you notice how different the dogs worked? Did you see one was more conservative where, Rookie's really blonde. He's really got a lot of blonde attributes. But, I mean, him and I both do. But he's loose, and I've allowed that looseness, and I don't put so much control. I really have let him think he's running the show, which, by the way, he pretty much is. I mean, we just sort of choreograph. We get it down there and everything, but bless his little heart, when you're out there performing, first of all, the dog should look like as if a free spirit on the floor with you. Absolutely. There should be no force involved anywhere. There's no place for force here. All right? And that means implied force, too. And what I mean by implied is if you give a signal. Remember, people, no one knows your choreography, maybe except a close friend or two. But if you give a signal and the dog misses the signal, 9 times out of 10, many of us will stop right there and throw that signal again. Okay? We'll be moving along. We do the signal, and the dog doesn't do it, and we just stop. So what we're doing at that point is pointing to the audience, and we're saying to them, there's a mistake here. I just made a mistake. And then I'm starting to make my signal stronger, which is implied force. Okay? So you actually bring attention to the mistake, and you make it start to look as if you're forcing the dog to perform. Y'all follow me? Okay? I don't want any of that. I want y'all to get out there. Now, I'm talking about in performances. Once you're in performances, when you go out on that floor, it's too late to be training. You want to help your dog. You want to really be aware of the dog and how much help he may or may not need, okay, in all these things. Even if he knows it well, he may get confused and offer something else. So you want to be sure you send very clear signals. Okay, I want to introduce you to some transitions, what I call transitions. Remember how these are all transitions too. One of the things is you're moving the dog from the left to the right, or you're moving yourself from the left to the right. You're making a transition into creative healing, you know, right and left. Elvis, please. We're going to have to let you leave the building. He's in competition with me or something. But I want you to start to understand about moving and using your hands and your voice and smiling and helping the dog. Okay, here's what happened. I had taught him the touch stick, but I decided one night I was going to give something else a try, and that was to teach him to move away from the stick. Because where we were in our training was, when I said back to him, he would move back if I went toward him, because my physical body was coming toward him. That may be where you are with yours, but you're going to notice back, and the dog will move if you're moving toward him. But then all of a sudden, you'll say back, and they will not take those steps unless you come at them, come toward them. Okay, they need that physical movement. So I thought, I'm going to try this. So I took the stick out, and I was using my clicker. And I just brought the stick out, and that's it. And I clicked. See her take that first step right there? And I clicked right there. So when my hand came out, click, okay. Pretty soon, I mean, he knew, he learned and he understood, move away from the stick. And my hand would come on out, okay. Now I was teaching him 2 things. One was not only to move without my being dependent on me coming toward him, I was teaching him to move away as I back away too. All right, so these are like 2 new exercises. It's very different than just backing as I'm coming toward her.